I helped 142 companies in ecom, so I've seen a lot. And I'm not kidding you, half of them send their traffic to the wrong page. I don't want ads to scream like, hi, I'm an ad. Like all these formulas that everyone has. If you follow only all the formulas, then you also look like a very generic thing, which also it's gonna happen more and more with AI, but everything is gonna be more uniform. This ad, I think, is the most copied ad that I've ever made. It's been ignored by the whole industry how important the comments are, and I've been preaching it since 4 or 5 years, but check the comments and work on the comments. Black Friday is coming up. I can give you one big tip.
It's the D2C Podcast, and today I am having a reunion with my friend Chris Erthel. Chris and I met, was it 2018 in Barcelona, Spain? It was actually the final event I ever did with iStack training in my previous event life, the Affiliate World Crew. And I don't remember how we got connected, but what I do remember is you being my favorite speaker at this event. You brought, not to hype you up too much, but you came with a ton of dynamism. You came with a lot of really practical ad advice for people. You were doing really cool things all the way back then with AR and being able to sort of simulate cool animations in your ads, I remember. So we kept in touch loosely throughout the years, and really glad to have you on the D2C Podcast, man.
I'm very glad to be here. And yes, exactly. So you can actually jump into this right away. So everyone, hello audience. I'm a German. I'm from Munich. But the important thing is, when you said it was your last event, it was actually one of my first events. So this is why, in this speech, I wanted to pack so much things, because I remember Eric announced me to the stage, and I was like, okay, this is one of my first big speeches, the first one out of the European market, where global. I was preparing for this like crazy, and I was wearing exactly this outfit, this shirt, this one. So I was like, to honor Eric and to honor this thing, let's go back to it. Just that day, I had my hair short and colored fully white. If you remember, everyone was
remember, you're bleached.
The guy with the crazy white hair. He had nothing to sell. He really gave a lot of nuggets, and that's. I tried to keep my speeches like this. I've always giving the speech that I wanted to hear when I was learning, full on knowledge. A couple of things I brought for today of no bullshit, tips that really work for especially ecom right now.
Nice. Well, I want to get into that, but for our audience who didn't hear you in Barcelona, give us a little bit of your hero's journey in this e-commerce world.
Hero's journey would be during my uni, I did my exchange semester in South Carolina and was partying every day and going crazy. And I can really recommend that, because in the end, a lot of things I learned in uni is connections and social things. So I really was I would do it again like this. But after uni, all my friends were we're gonna be founders, we're gonna start this, start that. And I was I didn't really think about it. I would just take something, and I was looking for I was studying in Vienna and living from Munich, so I got a couple of good job offers there. But then my heart was always in Spain, so I was no, I gotta come to Barcelona. And then from there, I looked and I didn't find the same job opportunities for the big car brands or all these things I would find in Germany and Austria. And I was all right, so then guess I'm gonna become a founder. And started things and failed things with my best friend. We tried an app called Selfie Hunter, where both cameras activate. We always tried things sometimes for a month, we tried selling shoes to California with another friend, sold 2 pairs after a month, okay, not a market, kept on trying, and then eventually found more and more things. Now I have 14 projects where I started in my life. Recently, and a couple of ones, still alive and very good. But again, recently started one SaaS company that I thought was a genius idea, where you can see the ad spend of every ad. Because I was in Japan, in Uniqlo, so Uniqlo booked me to help them, and they told me hey, look at the ads of H&M, because they are crushing it in Poland and we are not. So I went through the ad library, all the ads, and step by step, with EU ad transparency, you can see the ad spend. But it took forever. And I was there's got to be someone writing a code for that. No one did it. And I was okay, I'm going to find a coder, do it. And that company failed. A lot of people are this is a good idea, but it also failed. And it's an important thing. And I've been failing a lot and winning a lot. And so in general, if you do this, you win. In general, now is a very good moment. But a lot of things went well and went bad. One thing I'm very proud of is helping the United donations. Like I always wanted to be working there, but they never took me. And then I could be there as a consultant with a World Food Program and share the meal, the app. And there we even got, there was one call even with the director of the World Health World Food Organization, World Food Program, and Mark Zuckerberg. And Zuckerberg even gave them 1 million repeating budget every year, which they can spend in ads without having to pay it, which was very beautiful. That was a cool project I'm very proud of, and that now has like 200, I think 30 or even more. Like minimum, maybe it could be more by now, but I can dare minimum 230 million meals shared in this one. So that's really cool. And there was one, as I'm German, I also have a lot of Swiss and German companies, especially going to US and these things. And there was one German skincare company, and they reached out when they were small. Small, I mean like 30 million. And then they only did influencer marketing, no Facebook ads. And then we made it together to 107 million, and then they sold for 330 million. So that was also a cool case to be a part with. And then I learned, like I got very good compensation there, very good bonus. But then that's how I learned of like, you want to take equity in companies. So now I also either I help very big companies now, or I do startups. But then I also take equity because like that would have been a smart thing there on that exit.
And then what is your specific area of expertise? Is it in the creative side of things like it was back in Barcelona, or is it sort of whole business processes?
Yeah, it's still creative side, but obviously like after so long, like whole business processes and a lot of the things, it's like, look, when we make very good creatives, we focus on the first second. But also then nowadays, I'm very expert and I want to be among the 2 or 3 best in the world when it comes to the first second of a meta ad, especially Facebook newsfeed, to be honest, and all the audiences. But we'll go into this. But obviously, after doing this for so many years, like 10 plus years, now I know a lot about the landing pages, about so a lot of times when I help projects and companies, I'm like, okay, we need to do this, but you need to change this, and also offers. Like another thing, so the thing that I really want to be world class is exactly which offers to test, how to test them, A/B testing, and creatives. And things I'm good at is global strategy, internationalization, and the page, like which page to send the traffic to. This I love testing, but also what elements on my website to test. No, and here, if you want, I can actually share the first big knowledge bomb with the audience, because it's been pissing me off. But this error has been done by so many people, and I want to just help people to not do it. So now I helped 142 companies in ecom, so I've seen a lot. And I'm not kidding you, half of them send their traffic to the wrong landing page, like to the wrong page. And for me, I want to quickly help people to just like, you don't have to work with me, just do it, and you will very likely win. So over 99%, there has been one case that has been equally good. In every other case, it's been a clear winner, sending the Facebook traffic to the collection page. Let's say, one example, you have a belt company, okay? You have like 400 different belts. Obviously, one is a clear bestseller. What everyone does makes the ad of a bestseller. That's right. What everyone does then is like sending the traffic to a bestseller, to this one product, to be like, hey, it's one less Chris, they will help me like, Chris, it's one less click. It makes sense. They're going to go through easier. And I'm like, no, can we please run A/B tests on this? They have to first trust you that you're a big company. If they see, okay, we have like one product, it doesn't seem big, love trust is gone. If they see 400 products, very good. Another one I'm helping has 14,000 products in the sleep area. Like amazing, like the trust. But this and also your average order value will be much, much bigger. And people will still buy the bestseller that they saw in the ad, but they will add more. They will have more trust. The numbers couldn't be more clear. That's why I'm telling like everyone, like every time I start working with someone, I look at this first, because I've been seeing it the last 3 years of like, it's done half people is done wrong. So I can just like this and it takes 10 seconds. You go change the landing page on the ad, which you can even do a mass change. And it's such a quick hack, and it can bring up to 20% higher average order values and return on ad spend, which, you really want to have.
It's such a direct marketer's mindset, I think, to go from the ad directly to the page to reduce all friction. But it's more of that brand marketer's mindset where you're like, you want to introduce them to your world of products as well, because that could influence them down the line, right?
Exactly. So like that's something like I love, sharing things of like, like just do this. Like if you're currently sending it to your bestseller and you have more than 7 products. If you really have like only bestseller and one more, maybe okay. But if you have more than 7 products and you're doing this, then please try it. And then if you want, send me a thank you message to my Instagram or my LinkedIn or whatever. But yeah, you will see. You will have a more profitable company.
I've often thought about the amount of intelligence that's available in the ad library. And I've thought about a way to sort of like score a brand or something about how many different kinds of ads they're running, what their velocity of ads are. So I'm interested in this sort of SaaS product that you said that maybe didn't reach the heights that you wanted it to, but I bet you've gleaned a lot about the kinds of ads that work best in accounts by looking so deeply into the meta ad library.
Exactly. Like for me, and also that's why we still like internally, we're still using it. But we just, we tried to, I think, what price did we have? We tried to put it to market at 29 or 39 euros. And it was growing. So it's like, don't get me wrong. It was not like people did get it, but it was just growing slow. And none of us, we were 3 co-founders. None of us wanted a slow growing company because we all have other companies that are fast growing. That was one of the things. But I have to tell you, we were really sure that at one point, the banks, everyone will be interested in this because you can see the ad spend of everything. You can see which one they should invest in. Like there was so much data in it, but I guess, I could say the market was wrong, but I guess we were wrong. But it's, I'm really happy we did it, honestly. Like it was really a fun project. Like it was a side project, but it was a fun side project.
And so you mentioned your expertise within that 1 second of videos. Talk to me a little bit more about that. What should our audience be thinking about in terms of about all the different ways you can maybe maximize the effectiveness of that first second?
Yeah. Nowadays, there's different, like obviously, what I can always tell you is like try very, very different ad areas in this way, Like so currently, like I help currently a lot of fashion brands. Fashion is currently the hottest industry. Like, how it was 10 years ago, sunglasses was the hottest. Then 8 years ago, it was jewelry. Then it was skincare. Now it's fashion. There's always cycles, no? So currently there's a lot of fashion. And so here there's different things, no? Like imagine now an ad that starts with three things that people say about X brand. And then there's different people very quickly, like very quick burst, and they say three words about it, which in this case, we thought about it as a branding ad, and it's getting a crazy ROAS. So now we're doing it for this and for other brands because it's a branding effect, because you have like 3 things, like in this skincare industry, no microplastic and so on, but in this case, we have like, it's a very profitable ad and it hooks right away, Then obviously, bold statements is something that is an evergreen. Like you want audience questions. If there's a comment on Facebook, and then you put it there and you answer a question that nearly everyone has before buying this. Then you go into this, like that gets your attention. Another thing that I love is always a bit more harder, and not all the founders want to do it. But every time we want humor. Like an ad that the first second makes you laugh. Like something goes wrong or something happens, I think there was this one ad that I showed when this car drives over this guy, but in a funny way of he is like, it's a comedy ad. It's a clear, like it sounds bad, but it's a clear comedy ad. And he's driving over people because the milk's running out, and then there's this milkshaker. So these ads that like, get people to laugh at something, but then also in the first second, because now it's been shifting a bit. So we also in the fashion industry, we're seeing a lot of like these clean close-up shots, which actually don't have a first second that hooks you in a way of like an ad, but just the product is so beautiful. Like you see like this very beautiful, one company I'm helping are making like 7,000-8,000 euro earrings, but they are crazy cool. So they would have like a woman's ear close up, and this really cool like earring, but it's like filling the whole ear. It's like a crazy thing. And you see, and this is the first second which get your attention, but then the ad is just slowly moving around it. It doesn't look like an ad. And this is something that obviously I don't want ads to scream like, hi, I'm an ad. Like all these formulas that everyone has, like put the bold statement there, put this here, put 3 USPs. Like if you follow too much only all the formulas, then you also look like a very generic thing, which also like, it's going to happen more and more with AI, but everything is going to be more uniform. So sometimes also we think out of like how can we do something that really fits to the audience, like a snowboard company, we would start with a double backflip. Where would get the attention, like I think you also do mountain sports. So, like you would get attention if you get like a crazy double backflip and then you see the snowboarding clothes when we're just putting the clothes. But also in fashion, a lot of times now another first second, and I can talk about this forever as you see. Now first second is like a model spinning around, clothes change, spinning around, clothes change, and she's always spinning, and you always see different clothes from all the angles, no? So that's another thing. And this, again, plain, no text, so it doesn't look like an ad too much. So nowadays, we have some ads that are really screaming, I'm an ad, but then they are really optimized with a cool question and cool bold statement. But then also we have clean things, and we let them run, because every brand is slightly different, and you want to have both. It's so easy to make both, and that's it. But you really want to check and have this toolbox of different areas. But in the first second, also like camera motions where you have a fast film in, or a friend of mine made an ad standing under a lamp, and when he went out of it and he was like, this is a pattern interrupt. And then he started talking about what he wanted to talk about, So there's a million things, but you want to get a way to get, I always say on Facebook it's easier, because on Facebook there's a lot of Facebook is still, especially what I love to target is Facebook for the audience 55 plus. And their content is still their friend posting what they had today for lunch. So you have to just make something that's more engaging than what they just saw. On TikTok, that's why I tell my brands, go to TikTok. We're going to also do on TikTok, not even to make money there, but we want to compete there, because if we can get good enough ads to win on TikTok, because it has to be better than the organic content, then we can really win it big on Instagram.
And the newsfeed, that hallowed newsfeed where you have those 55 plus people. I think that's performance marketers' holy grail is that audience for sure. I saw some notes about your creative ad formulas that you talk about. What is a corner kick?
Yes.
Is that old? Is that old news? It was ChatGPT dug this up. It said heartbeat editing, surprise hooks, and corner kicks for our North American audience, soccer, football.
It's the corner, we call it the corner trick, right? So now you would have an ad, no? So let's say now you would have a woman wearing a sunglass, okay, for a sunglass company, and then all of a sudden it folds like a page of a book, like let me see here, I have this one here. It folds like this, no, over, and what's behind is the website. And you see already all the different products there and everything. So you get already very familiar of like, oh, this is how the website would look like. That's how other things they
interesting.
have. And then you click on it and you see exactly what was there when you clicked it. Exactly this is what happened.
It's just pre-framing, just sort of pre-framing the situation.
Yeah, and you already put them into a mind, oh, I could click on this. By the way, that's very important. Where does, for your whole audience, let's everyone think about it, where does the first click go to many times? The first click, when they like an ad, where do they click first? Think about it for a second. The first click goes on see more to see all the comments, especially on Facebook. And a lot of the brands, they don't take it serious enough how important it is to, first of all, answer all the questions, hide the bad comments, and even a lot of times we like to gently shift the discussion in the way we want. So by this we mean, like, I have one ad and all of a sudden I see, okay, this ad has a 7 ROAS, okay, on high ad spend. And we're like, no comments yet. We're like, okay, this ad could either be ruined now by a comment, or it could get even better with some good comments. So what we then do, we click on share the link, you click on the ad and you can go like, share this ad. You can share it in a WhatsApp group with colleagues or friends, and you'd be like, hey, if everyone, 4 or 5 people could make a nice comment here of like, I really thought about getting it and then this, but then I bought it and arrived after 24 hours and it's really even better than I expected, something like this. That's what you want to hear. Or I was skeptical, but in a way, good comments that are real and good comments where the audience will like, oh yes, that's good to hear. Good to hear it comes fast. Good to hear it has this quality. Good to hear if it's clothes and they're marketed as very soft. For example, for one of my clients, we're like, oh, this is really incredibly soft. The softest top I've ever had. This is something that you should take much more serious. We take it so serious with ad, The other day, I saw someone talking about it. I was like, finally, someone else is talking about it, because it's been ignored by the whole industry how important the comments are. And I've been preaching it since 4 or 5 years. But check the comments and work on the comments.
I remember Michael Brenner came to another German, I believe, came to our event previously that we did in Berlin. And he did a mastermind talk about increasing the revenue from his products, something like 20 or 30% just by being really diligent by curating those comments in the way you've described.
Yeah, he's very great. Exactly. He knows what he's talking about.
One of the things that came up in my research, my ChatGPT research, was your use of AR. And I've been seeing some, I don't know if that's accurate. I remember you gave a presentation about ads, and it's similar to the corner kick, essentially, ads that would kind of reframe the ad unit so that it would be doing something, where you'd think you'd be looking at an ad image, but it would be shifted just subtly. And it actually was a video that kind of broke the frame. And you saw, I think it was like a hand reaching in and grabbing some sunglasses out of a carousel or something like that, putting some AR in ads. I saw a really interesting website the other day that had all of their product images on their landing pages interacting. So someone in the top frame is wearing a sweater and they have an ice cream cone and they dump it and the ice cream falls into someone's bowl into the image below or whatever. And I was wondering what are
really that's very cool. Like, the website idea I never had. That's actually I might copy that if you see that with some brands now. Exactly, yeah. Like we love to do that. Having effects that so surprise people. This ad, I think, is the most copied ad that I've ever made. Like, I've seen it, and I'm really happy because I've been showing it, and I've seen it. Like, I would really say more than 80 variations of it by brands who are like, just didn't ask but just took it. But this is, the best compliment ever. So like, it's beautiful.
Are there other examples of ways that you've done sort of innovative animations in ads that have worked well?
This a shout out to a colleague, Bosco. He came up with a following thing of like for Mela, for the sunglass brand now. He came up with the effect of like, we made an Instagram effect. A friend who lives in Bali, he made an Instagram effect, an Instagram filter. And when you click on the ad, it doesn't open the landing page, but it opens with filter. And then you can try all the Mela sunglasses on. So that was a really beautiful thing and working well. But the truth is, Meta doesn't care about your business, and they don't care about sometimes crushing your hopes on certain things. It's a thing we have to all learn at some point. I've been going through it, and everyone will. So they just decided, I think 2 years ago, you just stop with the filters, and they just crushed that part of that fully, and they just do it from one day to the other, and and then it's just gone. So that was a really beautiful idea, and it worked really well, but they don't, they don't care.
Zuckerberg crushed it. Classic Mark Zuckerberg. One of my other notes here is just the idea that, like, you've mentioned a little bit about A/B testing and the importance of sort of A/B testing all aspects of your funnel. Is it true that you try to build a culture of testing where you're running over 40 A/B tests per day, or is that hallucination on ChatGPT's part?
Per week.
Yes. Okay, that makes more sense. Yeah. And then give me some examples maybe of like A/B tests that are in your go-to that you will always test.
The most go-to A/B test in the past was like, but in the past it was like you would optimize, and you could optimize towards telling Facebook we want purchases, but you could also tell them we want add to carts or we want view content. And so there was a time, but that was a while ago, where view content was outperforming so much to getting purchases. Like, you would get just so much more data points. But then I think Facebook at one point saw this and corrected this in a way of like, very few people figured this out, and they then had a higher ROAS, but Facebook was like, most people click on purchase. So I think they just tweaked the algorithm so that it purchased it, took it more into account, and we lost this advantage. But that was like for a long time, there was a go-to that in nearly all the cases was a winning one. Now I would say the most typical A/B test we make is now we have one content piece working, and now we still work with a lot of real creators. And now let's say, for a big brand now, a very well working ad, a typical big brand wants like a 3.8 ROAS. So with one ad gets a 4.4 ROAS. It's good, like we're all happy with it. It's not like magic, but it's like very high budgets behind it, and it's very, very nice performance. So what we do now, we paid like, let's say 2,000 euros for its content creator. This big brand has a lot of budget. So we're like, okay, now let's get 10 other women in a similar price range, and let her perform the same things, the same ad. Be like, it works really good because she was in this fancy living room. Let's put them there, have the same thing. And then a lot of times, and then we will see that 6 of them perform way worse, 4 of them perform way better, and 1 of them performs really good. And we just earned a lot and learned a lot. So there, a lot of the tests that really make a difference is how the audience reacts to different content creators and who can really talk to the audience. And that's something that might shock you. Again, question to the audience. One big brand guess how much money they spent for her content to one content creator. Everyone guess. And then the next question is, guess the revenue that they made with her. Like tracked revenue thanks to her. So the Facebook ads with her and her post and so, guess the amount that she earned in a single year.
100K.
6 million.
6 million. How did that work?
She was she made her custom skincare collection with them, posted strongly about them, had over I think 2 million, 3 million Germans, but very, loyal followers in Germany. She was very talented in sales. That's something that normally they are not. And now guess the tracked revenue that which we 6 million that we put into her, how much we brought?
Let's say 10 million.
31.
31.
So that was the
ridiculous.
Brand that was 107 million, but 31 million were out of her. So we always said, I know he's not so known in Canada and the US, but like she would earn more that year than Thomas Müller. Thomas Müller is like the football player. He now actually went to Vancouver.
He's now I'm aware. I've heard of him. Yeah, the Whitecaps.
Yeah, exactly.
So that was a performance deal then. She got paid more because the ad did so well. What does that deal look like?
No, it wasn't a performance deal because the manager was not so smart. It was really, they just kept rising prices for the posts for when we use her for this. But it was not a performance deal. Like she could have gotten more if she had been performance deal.
Yeah, I guess so. But it just kept working because it had such great audience fit with her and her sales ability.
Exactly.
You mentioned when we were talking in the pre-interview a company that you recently helped exit for solid 9 figures. Can you talk about that situation a little bit?
Yeah, this I can talk because now is currently a lot of things happening in the market and good things. But this one we can go into detail. Yeah.
Tell me about it. What was the brand and what was your role with it?
Yeah, so for this one, and this has happened quite a lot now. So now the current case is a lot of like mid-sized companies, and they are around 50 million. And they come to me like, hey, Chris, now we've been there for a while and like we need the next push now because I've been doing this a lot. And then for me, it's quite easy to help companies to internationalize. A lot of them are Germans. We're like, hey, we want to get out of there and do more. And also, what's limiting us? Like, why can we not spend more profitable? Like, what are the limiting factors? And that's quite easy. In their case, I can go quite easy into the details. And also now, for example, now these days, I'm talking to a brand, like a 200-year-old brand with 14,000 products. And they have been the last 6 years stuck at 50 million. And the last, they are super old, 200 years old, like so many generations, family-owned business. They're always at 50. And now a new person got in the brand, took it over from his dad. And he's like my age, and he's like, okay, now it's time to, make this way bigger. And his goal is 500 million. Now he's like, Chris, can we talk about how we can do this together? And also we're currently structuring a deal similar to the deal I had with this Hello Body, with a skincare company. But with them, so I was quite, they really told me like, Chris, I know you're doing other things, but we really need you quite hands-on. We really need you like, in this case, now I can do it with less, but they're like, we really need you for 20 hours a week, where you really help us hire the right people and train the right people. Like being interim CMO. And then I was that for quite a while because it was going really good. But it was like hire the right people, train the right people, and then help us. They had an agency, help us move away from an agency and have it in-house because they already thought, okay, we want to sell one day. And it's much easier to sell to a big brand. They sold to Henkel. Maybe you know about them.
Yeah, I know Henkel, yeah.
Yeah, we sold to Henkel. And obviously Henkel wanted to have the in-house skill of like Facebook marketing also, And so like if they had an agency, they would have gotten a way, way worse deal. And here, the biggest thing I can share with you is I convinced the two founders, and we talked a lot about, all right, so now they were doing a lot of like 30% discount on the big events, And I was telling them 30%, it just doesn't hook. It's like, it's not quite like, of course we get sales and we are growing with this, but I'm telling you at this point, I think the numbers, if I have them correctly, because it was been a while ago, but I'm pretty sure it was around, they got an average order value of nearly 100, so that was good, but also 29 euros cost per action, like per cost per purchase, And it was quite high with 30% then. And then we were like, I was testing, like, can I please have budget to test? And I want to prove you with numbers that 40% would make the whole thing explode. Like this extra thing would then is really a high discount. And then, of course, in every brand, they were like, the voice of like, no, but the brand is not good for the brand image, and the voices, But then I was like, let's see, and then we'll see it with the data. Let's see with the data. And we did it. And so let's say for simplicity of this, there's 10 euros more we have to give to the customers. Okay. So these 10 euros more are gone. We lose them because we give a higher discount. And I have 100 euros. But what we found out is we saved 18.5 euros on meta ads. So the big loser was Mark Zuckerberg, because all of a sudden the friction was over. Like we sold so much. So we gave 10 euros more to a customer, but again, we made even way more profit. Like we made more profit than this, because our Facebook ad cost went down. So like we had phases of selling every 6 euro, but like on a million euro budget. So that was, and then afterwards there was no more discussion. Like it was like the founders were like, we proved it with data, and Germans love data, like we're German founders, it was very easy. We had the data clear, it was very proven, and then it was like good. And then we actually found that the brand didn't suffer from it. Like it was like a very consistent offer. And also now when your audience will hear this, Black Friday is coming up, I can give you one big tip. So start on 1st of November if you can, make a black month. That's, people know that, it's not a big tip. What we really found is making image ads there. And then on the ads, it says, we promise you no bigger deal on Black Friday. And obviously ethical marketing, keeping that promise. Very important. Like you can never promise anything like you're out. But for them, it was like people knew, okay, this is a high offer, but they are not going to go higher. This is the thing. And people were like, okay, now it's the best moment ever. And like the ads also said, we promise highest offer of the year. What then happened for their birthday sale? They again went to this size, but it was not a higher offer. Like it was the highest offer, so it was kept at that. So it's true, So and we're keeping these promises. Like people shouldn't wait until Black Friday, because on this day competition is just through the roof. So that's something that makes a lot of sense.
I actually never heard that before, but be explicit about the fact that they're not going to get a better deal in the ad.
Yeah, that's really important. Like we saw the number. It's like we have now 3,400 A/B tests. There's for a reason. Like this was one of them with very clear data of like this small sentence, and like for deal events, more image ads, no more picture ads. But when having this phrase in it, clearly no higher discount, we promise that. That's really important.
You mentioned internationalization, and I feel like in the current trade environment, there's drawbacks and benefits to that. But ultimately, I think a lot of US brands are looking for markets that they can expand to in Europe and other places. Where do you see, as someone who's internationalized a lot of brands, where do you see some of the biggest gains? Because I understand a lot of places ads are going to be cheaper, like cost per clicks are going to be cheaper in maybe places like Poland. I don't know exactly. Where are you seeing some of the internationalization wins?
Yes. So just before this, I want to quickly say Mercedes won the pre-tariff marketing award, in my opinion. When Trump was like speculating with tariffs and so, Mercedes made this marketing campaign of like, get the last Mercedes at pre-tariff prices. And they sold so much. It was free marketing. It was perfect for them. Like that was like I put this in the slides in the last AW speech because I celebrated it so much. And now the next one I'll be at AW Bangkok and also talk in a similar way. But now to answer your question, if I were on a US brand, and for this really reach out to me and I can easily help you or give you guidance. If I would be a US brand, Poland, like you said, amazing market, one of the strongest ecom markets because people are really used to buying online and it's a very fast growing economy, quite big. If I'm around right, should be around 40 million. But then Poland, you can do English, which is great, but also Polish could be good. But nowadays, anyway, it's easier with ChatGPT and so. But English works, eh? But now, if I would be a US company, I would right away start and do the Nordics. So the Nordics, I say Denmark, Finland, Sweden, even Ireland can be in it, and Holland and Belgium. So these markets combined are crazy strong markets. We are quite big together. You put them all into one campaign. You know, you don't do different. One campaign for all. And then it's very important in English. All these countries have TV in English, all have the euro. So you have no problems, all European Union, all have the euro, all have TV in English. So you don't have to change anything. Just change from dollars to euros. And even that, if you don't do it, it will still work. But if you just change to euros, but everything else, keeping the English website, it works because these people, they can easily, like in every brand I've ever helped, we never made ads in their language or the website in their language, always in English, and it works perfectly. So I love these markets. So normally, if I help a German brand, I tell them, step 1, go to the Nordics. Step 2, go to Poland. Step 3, go to France and Italy. And then sometimes in between, if you want to go out of the European Union, which for you is easy as a US brand, go to the UK. UK is competitive, but also a great market. So England is great.
You mentioned some of the tools that you're using with your team. What are some indispensable tools that you're finding in this creative advertising process?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I found one more answer that I really want to share with the audience for the thing before. One A/B test we'll be making. So, for example, now I'm helping one Swiss company, and they are now crushing it in the US. But when we launched, I told them you have to A/B test. A/B test of like we're gonna go there and seem like we're a US brand. Okay, and we're not even gonna go with we are European. Like we're just gonna be like, but people assume that we're an American brand, or where we really go in all the ads everywhere, Swiss quality. And I actually thought that the Swiss would have a chance of winning. We were surprised it didn't win, but it's perfect. So like we had our way clear. Like a lot of times, for example, in Germany, if you say Swiss brand, it was better. But in the US, it was worse. So that's, again, something we couldn't know if we wouldn't have tested it. So like always check in which way, like do you want to go into Nordics and be like very proactive about this American brand and this a big old brand? Or you want to be more like, like just highlighting the products? Again, test it. No, but you will get very clear and fast data on it.
I wonder what the sentiment is in Europe with US brands.
So I can answer for you. I would say if you're a California brand and you would say we're a California brand, that would work pretty well. Like people love California, for example.
But if you're like, I'm Texas, maybe exactly. There's some, but maybe not.
Exactly. So then you want to test it, and you will get clear and fast data. All right. To your questions about tools. So there's a couple of tools that are really helping me right now. One that I would love for you to try also right away is WeeVee. So WeeVee, for me, we're always, doing ads and then making edits in ads. And a lot of ads can be still real, but then we do edits in AI or we need certain scenes in AI. And for me, it's been a pain. Like every conference I go to, I get 10 new AI tools recommended. And then there's this editor and Runway and Topaz Labs and Google VO3. And for me, I was like, I'm a marketer firsthand, and I don't want to sign into 1,000 accounts, edit it here, download it, edit to the next one. Like the whole process wasn't fun for me. So I was really happy when I saw that there's this tool, which is like, you have this blank space, like a Figma a little bit, and on the side you have 140 AI tools. And then you drag these tools in, and then you can prompt from there. So I would like write a prompt, and then I drag in Google VO3, and then I click on run, and then it will make me a Google VO3 video. So then I will be like, okay, now in this video, I want to add a voice with 11 labs. So I drag it there, put it again, it does it. And then I'm like, okay, now this is a finished thing, but I want higher quality. So I connect it with a line and it's really intuitive. Like, it's like, there's nothing I have to explain more because that's how it is. Another line, and then Topaz Labs I run, and I have the quality increased with Topaz Labs, and then I want to add some motion with Runway, and I do that too. Like everything. So with image and video ads, it's fucking fun. Like I honestly don't know why they're not more famous yet, because they are really the most useful tool ever. It's
I love it because everyone has some insecurity about whether they're using the best tool in a way, right? And so when you've got them all in one place, you can experiment and you can kind of see what every one of them is best at.
Exactly. And then the other thing is like, where do your brands and your ecom brands make the most ROI? What paid marketing tool makes the highest ROI or return on ad spend?
Is that Google? Because it's all intent-based?
Google would be maybe second, yes, but I would argue in nearly every ecom brand that the highest ROI is actually email marketing. Right?
Makes sense. It's an owned audience, yeah.
Exactly. So like here you have the costs, and like in the past, like 10 years ago when I started my first ecom brands, and so we used MailChimp. Then very quickly we saw that now there's brands who focus on ecom marketing only. So of course everyone switched to those. But now we are like checking of like, okay, now it was a monopoly in a way, and people kept raising prices. And I don't know about your ecom brands, but a lot of them we're paying in couples of thousands or 10,000 of euros a month. So now there's this one company that we've been seeing recently, and they make, like, I didn't know about them, but they make 60 million already in revenue. So they're no longer that small. But it's Omnisend, and Omnisend for us, we checked that they are much more cost efficient. So like a lot of times we actually, our ROAS return on ad spend doubled, because they are slightly easier to use to get better emails out. So it's very intuitive and easy. So like you can send out faster emails and SMS. But also important thing is you're in costs, you're around 40% of Klaviyo, for example. So obviously you have two tools doing exactly the same, and you can migrate everything. Like you can, like most brands, we did it like in 2 hours. And a small brand, half an hour, a bigger brand, 6 hours. But you can migrate all your pre-written emails, all your segments, all your funnels, you migrate it all. But then I like always, seeing a tool that does the same, but you can save a lot. Like on another time I was consulting a brand, and they told me they need a tracking tool, and they found the solution in Dubai. With Dubai, I was already like, okay, probably someone's overcharging them. And they're like, yeah, it's just 3,500 euros a month, and we can do the tracking. And I was like, I have this company from Munich, and I can tell you they do the same but better, minimum the same but better, in 350 euros. And they were like, oh, you just saved us 100,000 euros over the next 3 years. Like, oh, it's so worth to work with you. And I'm like, yeah, thank you. But, be careful with what tools you work with, and so Omnisend for V is like a very, very cool one, because every ecom brand can, with one track, save so much money just by using a tool which is faster, actually, is more prepared for ecom, but also is very cost effective, because I think Klaviyo was a good tool, but I think they have just been abusing their market. They have been not so ethical and abusing their market situation of like, how much can we squeeze out possibly, for a tool which is like, for them was a one-time coding thing.
I just did a podcast with Sean Frank and Taylor Holiday and Tomer Tagreen from Yotpo about the state of SaaS. It's a really interesting one. I'll send you a link to it, actually.
What happened to them? Did they close the company recently? Because I heard something, or what happened there?
No, they didn't. They closed down their email and SMS divisions. But they were on the original podcast I did with them a year ago, was basically reading all of Sean Frank's mean tweets about Yotpo, and basically saying how they weren't maybe ethical in their pricing models. And then last year they made all these big adjustments, going after a lot more of the retention ecosystem, so including email and SMS. And then this year they've had to retreat. And I think the theme of the podcast was that it's not fun to pick on SaaS companies anymore, because they're under the gun so much with whether it's pressure from people who are vibe coding cheaper solutions, or whether it's just the commodification of all of these services.
I can now I can really have my say because now I had one SaaS company, and it's a fucking pain to get all the code right. Like I value every company that doesn't have errors, because I saw how many bugs we had, and I was like, oh, it's actually so hard to think of all these bugs and all these. Like now I'm seeing code much differently. I'm not a coder, but like we had like 7 coders, I think, in total, who were doing things, and I was like, wow, like now I see how many bugs can happen if it's your own company, and so like now I value and things go smooth even more. Like and I just want to ask, because I recently had a case of a company, and they had the email marketing there, and they had to migrate. That's why I was like, what happened? I only closed the email marketing. Okay, that makes sense, because I had like one case where they told me like, we had this. What should we use now, Chris? Like, where should we go from that?
To wrap things up here, I'm just curious, with you're working with lots of different brands. It's medium size, 50 million plus. What are your goals with your enterprise? Do you want to get back in the brand space, own your own brand? Do you want to keep consulting? Where do you want to take it?
Yeah, so like one of my goals here is, for me, really, I want to be, when it comes to creative in ads, my goal is to be among the 2 or 3 best when it comes to getting the first, second, and the creative part of A/B testing of ads. Like just on Meta. Don't ask me about Google or anything, but in this small area, I want to be among the 2 or 3 best, and I want to measure it that Apple reaches out to me. Like that's one of my measurements, that like brands, like big brands, when they need to find someone, I never reach out to brands. I wait for them to come to me. Like for example, Red Bull already reached out to me, Uniqlo and so on, Visa card. But now I'm waiting for also players like Apple or similar that reach out. I always say, like, if Apple reaches out and I help them for 1 or 2 years, then I can retire. Like I can already now retire and having a good career, but then I can really do it.
Well, this is a manifestation platform. So Tim Cook, if you're listening, get at him here. What was your next goal?
Then I have also a podcast, but this is a passion project. It's the happiness podcast, because I had a burnout in projects, and I really believe of like, if I had learned these things earlier of like breath work and meditation, like cultivating inner peace. So the podcast is about that. Also, we talk about marketing as well, because it's my big passion as well. But it's the happiness podcast by Chris Erthel, and here I want 8.5 million plays. That's also a big goal. Not easy, but it's a big goal. And then as a side thing, I have a couple of side events. Like not all marketing, also other things. I want to play a World Cup in one sport, and so as a German, I always wanted to play the soccer World Cup. Now it's coming up in the US. It's not going to happen anymore, and I'm 37 now. But there's another sport. Of course, golf, right? It's a big thing in the US. So now I'm quite a good soccer player, and there's a sport, foot golf, and there's the foot golf World Cup. And today, I talked again with one guy who played already 2 World Cups for Spain. And he told me today, hey, Chris, I see you totally, that you can make it with German team, or that you can make it to a World Cup with Germany. And it's getting closer. So that could happen the next 1 or 2 years of playing a World Cup in foot golf. Niche sport, but I'm loving it.
There is riches in the niches. I think exactly. That is really. I'm actually going on my very first golf trip in a couple weeks, so I'm very excited. I'm going to northern Alberta to a bunch of different courses with friends. I just actually shot an 87. I've broken 100 only a few times, and then I went home and golfed with my dad and all his friends, and golfed an 87, which was my best ever in front of my dad's friends, which made his day.
Man, so I love golfing too. You're a better golfer than me, then I guess. But we can, next time we see each other in person, I'll take you golfing, or you take me golfing. We'll do it. But just for you to understand, no. So in golf, I would normally, make bogeys, double bogeys, like defend myself. I'm getting better, but it's still it's like not where I would consistently do pars. In foot golf, where also you have par 5s, par 4s, I would normally end around at -3, which
pretty good.
Golf, I'm very, very far away from that.
Okay, well, you're not making the PGA anytime soon, but the FPGA, the foot golf.
Yeah, that might happen. And then I
love that you don't give up on dreams. You just maybe tweak them slightly,
so that
they're more attainable.
just tweaking. Then obviously a big dream is with my partner to have kids. She wants to have 4. I want to have 3. So let's aim for 3.5, and we'll see. No,
you better get going.
Yeah, we're gonna get going. It's that's a big thing. That's also why we move away from Barcelona to more of a countryside, to the island, Tenerife. That makes a lot of sense for that. Like it's perfect place to raise a family.
It's a windsurfing capital of Europe, isn't it?
And my girlfriend is a surfer. She really wants to be somewhere where we can surf. There's a ton of golf here. It's the capital also of foot golf, the capital of foot volley. So it's windsurf is huge there. So yeah, it's perfect.
I'm gonna make an excuse to come visit you because that sounds amazing.
Perfect. Yeah, it's
nice.
It's a great place. It's like you're really close to the equator, but you're still in Europe. So it's the best of both worlds. And then the last goal is I really have a big passion at Burning Man. I did my first breathwork like 7 years ago. And I left my body, looked out of my body, and was like, what the just happened? I was like, this is like, I've done ayahuasca and all these things, but that was more. And so I was like, okay, I need to, I have time after marketing. I can after work still and do this and travel and do a breathwork teacher thing, but just for myself. Like I was like, my marketing is my breadwinner and I love it, but I want to just know for myself and educate myself. So I found the best teacher in Argentina, went there 3 weeks, always 1 week, and got the diploma. And then I was like, now sometimes I give lessons to people who I like, and also I want to always give people lessons, breathwork sessions to politicians and to billionaires, because I think these people have a direct impact of like they could make tweaks in the world of making things more fair and better for us, more ethical. And so like that's something that I do. And then they're always shocked of like, you want to do this, but how much would you charge? I was like, no, for you it's for free. And everyone with Richard Branson or all these billionaires, they always use people charging them. And Richard and them, they really value was like, you're really like, you genuinely just want to help and be there. And they really see that. And they're really surprised and shocked with that. And that's a very good entry point of like, hey, I'll just do it,
Do you have any simple breathwork exercises you could leave our audience with?
Yeah, of course. So it's called, one of my favorite one is called 20 connected breaths. So the breathwork that I'm teaching is only through the nose. So it will be like 1.5 hours lying down and breathing through the nose, and especially checking that the exhale is a lot of love and acceptance in it, and you're not pushing it out, not the stressful thing. But that's the long session. But now what we can do together is we do 20 connected breaths. So we do like 4 fast ones and 1 extremely slow and very deep. And we repeat this 4 times, ergo 20, right? Maybe I can just do 1 and we can do it together if you want, and you can tell me how you feel afterwards, and everyone from the audience can do this as well. So I connect to my body, and now I go like, and you want to put like all your consciousness into the breath and have the first 4 very, very connected and the last one then very deep. So now let's do the full 20 together. Now you get the concept. You can use your hands to count if you feel like, but also you can just follow my guidance. All right. And then I would like to invite everyone to like fully scan through the body and feel the differences. Like for me, I feel my voice is much more calm. There's much more calmness. I have a lot of energy when I wake up and very energetic in a good way. I like to do sport and so and think about things fast. But this gives me like this very grounded feeling, and it's something that I can do before an important call. I can do after a call, but it stressed me. It's like the connected breaths, like Fanny Van Leer, my breathwork teacher. She's from France, but living in Argentina and doing this since 28 years. She always said, like, you can do this a lot of times as a tool during the day, but she would recommend doing this first thing in the morning and last thing in the day. But also, I use it a lot. Like, let's say I have a call with investors and they were stressing me. And I was like, I hang up afterwards and I'm like, okay, I'll do it now. And like, I'm not gonna go where like, animals shake after stress, but you can do this also or before something. And for me, like, I can really see, I feel much different now. And it's something that takes 30 seconds, and every day we take 40,000 breaths. And if we can do them slightly better, there's a lot of benefit in that. And don't breathe through the mouth if you can. Most breathworks are through the mouth because it's faster and you can do group sessions. But that's not how it's supposed to be. Like, the mouth is not made to be a breathing organ. I would recommend the book. I actually have it here. Wait, I have it just lying here. Just was not planned. Breath.
Oh, cool. James Nestor. I'll check that out.
And here he says, the worst breather in the animal kingdom is the human. Like, every animal breathes connected. And humans also breathe connected if they don't have trauma. But everyone has some kind of trauma. That's why we all have stops from inhale or exhale. And you can learn to breathe more connected. And that's something in this technique. It's called bioflow rebirthing breathwork. In this technique, you learn to be more connected in the breath. And that really helps.
I've heard that First Nations people have this built into their culture where any breath taken through the mouth is considered like is a bad situation, that every breath should be taken through the nose. And I think I've been like congested my whole life from different things. So I think that was part of maybe trauma as well. But I think there was aspects that kind of led me in it. I've looked into a lot of stuff about mouth breathing. It's terrible for your sleep. It's terrible for your facial structure. There's so much that it leads to, because breath is more important than water or food or anything, right?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So there was in the list, and also that's why you also want to live on places where the air is good. And also, like, Barcelona was not so good quality wise. I didn't move because of that, but that was always bothering me. I was like, oof, as I'm knowing so much about breath, I shouldn't live in an area that has more pollution because there's the mountain and the sea around it, and the cruise ships park there. So, but yeah, like, the breath has a bigger impact on your health, air quality, and the breath, how you breathe, than the food you eat. And we're checking so much on the food. It's crazy. And I can tell you, since we're 7 years, my life has changed in such a positive way. A lot of good things have happened to me. And I definitely thank Fanny Van Leer and my teachers there.
We don't normally get into these topics, but I'm feeling like we should more. I hope everyone in the audience got a chance to try that breathwork. I had a stressful meeting before this, and it really helped center me. So I'm going to continue with it. Thanks for coming on the D2C podcast, Chris. This is great to reconnect. I'm going to put all your links in the show notes below. Any kind of closing words for the thousands of D2C entrepreneurs that are listening to this?
I honestly think we're living in super interesting times. Like, I would always choose to be born in these times again. With now the emergence of AI and people complain, oh my God, is this? No, it's actually very cool. And also, the last months have been a very good phase for Facebook, Instagram ads. So now is a very good moment. If anyone would start a brand right now, I would recommend you going a bit into the fashion industry or like moving into something, in that way, like belt companies, something I always had in my mind and I never did because I gave example before a bit. It's like, if I wouldn't have so many projects already, I would start a belt company. That would be something. But yeah, we are living in very cool times. And the last, maybe a bit more breathwork advice also. If you're finding yourself in a difficult situation, something that helped me a lot is the Spanish saying, todo es perfecto y necesario, which means everything is perfect and necessary. Like, something bad happened to you and be like, no, but this is also perfect and also necessary. Like, that this happened. And it's very hard to apply when something really bad happens, but it's true. Like, everything is perfect and necessary. Another saying is la mente miente. The mind lies. The mind always tells us certain things. And we, as humans, make a mistake. We always believe everything the mind tells us. But the mind,
we think we are the mind. We think we are the thoughts in our heads when we're probably not.
We have a consciousness, and the mind can really trick us the mind is motivated by love or by fear. A lot of times it's motivated by fear and it lies to us. So that's a problem. So always be careful and don't trust everything and be like re-question things, because the mind is very good at lying to us.
Beautiful. Chris, thanks again, brother. We will reconnect again soon. I love your ad insights here. And the breath work is even more important for all of us. Thanks so much for listening to today's episode. If you're not a subscriber to our newsletter, you can do that right now at directtoconsumer.co. I'm Eric Dick, and this has been the D2C Podcast. We'll see you next time.